Hi, everybody. It's Gene Simmons, and you're not, and you're listening to the Potter Than Hell podcast with Steve, BC, BB, and Dylan. But you knew that, didn't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is your last stop on the crazy train of hard rock and heavy metal. So sit back, buckle in, and hang on. Here we go.
Hello, Potter Than Hellions. Welcome back to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is Steve, your host. I am joined this week by
BC
and
BB
and our keyboard player, but not participating today, only in a little bit.
Yeah, Dylan.
All right. And we have our buddy from the Great White North. Probably not white yet, but probably another 2 weeks it'll be snowing up there. So our friend Mark Anthony K from Canada. How are you, my friend?
Good. How you guys doing?
We are good, and as you guys can see by the title, we're starting a Whitesnake series, and we were talking with Mark about it. The last episode we did with Mark, what was that? Was it a Project Gemini one, maybe?
Possibly, or maybe Dark Monarchy or something.
Yeah, one of them. Anyway, we talked about. Oh no, we did the Whitesnake playlist was what we did. That's what we did.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then we discussed about doing making it a series, going through their albums, and Mark wanted in on it, so here we are. And Dylan didn't participate in that episode either. He's not a big Whitesnake guy, which I still don't get.
I thought we went over it.
I know.
I don't like no COVID.
I know, but. Here we are. We're going to start out. And Whitesnake's kind of weird because the beginning of Whitesnake is kind of weird. But we'll get into that after we get through our preliminary stuff here. So, Mark, before we get going, what's up with you? I know you got a ton of shit going on with Project Gemini. And I do have a question for you after you tell us how things are going.
Things are going pretty good. Very busy as usual. Working on book 3 right now. I'm writing... actually, I'm done writing. I'm actually recording. I'm in the midst of doing keyboards right now. So that's a little change for me because usually I do drums, guitars, and then I'll do bass. But this time I opted to skip over to keyboards because I'm trying to decide which songs to give to my guest bass players again. So I'm not entirely sure yet which ones I want to do. So I'm figuring if I develop the songs a bit more, then I'll kind of have an idea what they're going to sound like, and then I'll say, okay, well, this one will be good for Billy Sherwood, or this one will be good for Joe, or, So I'm kind of doing that. Also, I'm waiting on the finished product of the Dark Monarchy CD. It's in production. I'm just waiting for them to be completed so I can send them out to everybody who bought them. And other than that, Joe Bailey's CD did really good. The last of the U.S. orders that we got being sent out. He still gets orders here and there, so I'm still sending stuff all the time. But the main bulk that came in when I started the whole thing is all taken care of and done. So that's another thing to mark off the list as completed. So it's been pretty busy, and in the midst of that, I've been keeping tabs on my dog here, Shadow. He's had a little bit of stomach issues over the last couple of months, and luckily now he's back to normal, and he twisted his foot. I took him to the vet today. It seems like he has a elbow dysplasia, it seems, with his paw. So, but it doesn't seem too bad. He's walking on it okay, so it never ends.
No, it does not. And actually, I was at work yesterday, and by the way, today that we are recording is September 8th, 2021, and once again, we are under flash flood and tornado warnings here in Pennsylvania, which is par for the course for us. So, but anyway, Mark, like I said, I was working yesterday, and I received the Project Gemini packet in the mail. The folder with all the stuff in it. Now,
yeah.
I looked at it, I saw what was in there, and I put it away because I wanted to ask you, are there any spoilers for the story in the paperwork that you sent?
There's not technically spoilers for the story. What it technically is those letters that you saw in that one part of the folder. Those letters are between, the Earth that the people went and developed when they left Earth, that planet. It's their government talking amongst their military, and you just kind of get a background as to why at the end of the part 2 when that general guy appears at the end of that song, Mastermind, that general guy, or the letters are basically there to tell you why he got sent there. So it's not really a spoiler for part 3. It just kind of fills in the blanks of book 2.
Okay, so I don't want to delve into it and then know how it ends without listening to it.
Oh,
so,
no.
I didn't think you would do that, but I just wanted to make sure because I get crazy like that sometimes. All right, so last week, Mark, you obviously did not hear it yet because it didn't come out. We had a album. We built a Kiss album with our Kiss crew. We had us 4 guys here, and we had Rob, Chris, and Scott. We had a great time doing that, and we built an album. 10-song album, which I think was the hard part of it. And with 2 bonus tracks, we went from Lick It Up to Carnival of Souls. We had a great time. It was very difficult to do. Dylan, since you're not participating much, what did you think from last week?
I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought everybody had some really great picks, and there was a lot of crossover, but not as much as you think there would be for such a shorter period for Kiss. There was a lot of different picks from everybody and a lot of good songs covered, I think, throughout everybody's different albums. So I thought it was really good.
I agree with Dylan. There's a lot of picks that kind of crossed over, but there's a lot that didn't because, Kiss in that era, I don't care from Look It Up to Carnival, there was a lot of different diversity in their albums.
Yeah, I love when our Kiss crew gets together because it's always
Ball busting.
So much different. There's the ball busting going on. People like the hits. People like the deep cuts. So it's a great mixture of a bunch of guys just sitting around talking. Kiss music. It's a great time.
Yeah, and I do have to say, Dylan warned me today. Said just so you know, there's going to be a lot of banging on the table during the episode, and that's par for the course with us because everyone has to emphasize everything they say with banging on the table, and but that's pretty much the nature of the beast when we all get together, and it was fun. I love the banter that goes back to ball busting. Someone picks something, and you see the guy's face across the table, like, why would you fucking pick that? You know what I mean? You get all that kind of stuff going. So, but fun episode. Love when we do the Kiss crew episodes. So, and with that being said, I chatted with Mark a little bit about it, and I know BB didn't get through it all. Last week, the new Iron Maiden album came out. Mark, let's start with you first. Have you even gotten a chance to listen to it yet?
I got about halfway through it, and then for the back half of it, I kind of just did like 2-minute samples of each of it because I wanted to at least hear some of it before I came on tonight. I've just been so swamped with stuff, but I'm going to buy it, obviously. I'm a big Maiden fan. What I found absolutely fascinating about this is that I was reading a lot of reviews and comments online when this record came out, and it was such a divided review so far. Some people are like, this is great, I love it. And lots of people have been saying that this is terrible, the production is horrendous, this is not good. I even heard one guy put down saying that this should be the end of Yannick Gears. They should fire him after this record. Like, wow, like this is like. So I went and listened to it and gave it a good, solid listen the first half of it. And I already came to my conclusion already. And that is that it's an Iron Maiden album. What I don't understand about people is, like, the one guy had the audacity to say, I don't like this album. It sounds like all the other ones. Well, it sounded the same for the last 15 years. What are you guys talking? Like, hello? Like, you're just realizing it now that Iron Maiden has a formula? Like, give me a break.
Sound like Killers.
Yeah, he mustn't like AC/DC either.
Yeah, but I mean, I was just going to say that I think as far as this album goes, they're not reinventing the wheel. They're Iron Maiden, okay? They're doing what they do well. They're getting a bit older. Yeah, maybe Bruce's range isn't as fantastic as it was on Peace of Mind or something. Okay, so like, but this is the same thing. I'm starting to get visions of Kiss fans, where they're all like, "Oh, it doesn't sound as good as Love Gun." It's like, okay, guys, that era is long done. Okay, like, get over it. They're never going to make records like that again. Let people progress and move forward. They're just going to either continue doing what they're doing, but as they mature, some of their chops might get a little bit less. But if you like what their essence is as writers, then you'll like the stuff. And I like what I'm hearing. I mean, sure, maybe the production might be not to everybody's liking, but the main thing is, do you like the songs? Do you like the music? Do you like the singing? Sure, maybe Kevin Shirley didn't do as good a job on it, maybe to say like 2 records before this one. But that to me is kind of irrelevant. If the songs are good, they're going to sound good live, and that's all that matters. For me, the only records I've never liked from Maiden, and I still can't listen to it from beginning to end, is Virtual 11. And that's it.
Yeah, I'm at song 7, Darkest Hour. So I'm almost there. But I think this album, production-wise, is spot-on fantastic. Everybody sounds good. Everything sounds crisp. It almost brings me back to, like, the Brave New World. Like, I love this album so much. It's bringing me back to the Brave New World album and the sound they had in the production and how crisp that album was. Like, I think this is top 5 so far from what I heard. I absolutely love it. Yes.
Wow. How about that? What you got, Dylan?
So I listened to this for the first time today. I think my biggest problem with it, and this is something that we talked about, Dad.
Yes.
I don't think that the title track is a good opening song. I think it doesn't get the album off on the foot that it should. It's kind of like a middling song. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's not bad. I think I actually prefer the last half of the album more than the first half. Like, there's a lot of songs that the beginnings of them, I'm like, okay, this is decent, but then like the middles of the song, when they get to the soloing or they get to like the changes in the riff and stuff, that's when I'm like, yes, this is what I'm looking for. Especially the soloing in like the Parchment is really good. I really like the soloing in like the Time Machine. Darkest Hour was a song that from front to back I really liked. That was one that really stuck with me. And Death of the Celts is basically the Klansman Part 2. And like the beginning is very much just like the Klansman beginning and similar thing. But it's an album that's kind of roller coaster for me. It has its ups and downs. It's an elevator album as well. But it's got to grow on me for sure. I would give this like a 6 out of 10 and maybe a 5 out of 10 for Maiden. I don't know, but it's got some great stuff in it, I'll say. But I need to listen to it more to really get fully into it.
Okay. I probably listened to it it sounds insane, it's only been out a week, but I mean, I know there's probably people that probably listened to it 100 times already. I probably listened to this probably 8 or 9, between 8 and 10 times, and I love it. There's a lot of great playing on it. I have a huge problem with the sequencing in the album. I think Senjutsu was a fucking terrible opening song.
Yeah.
I think that song belongs down in the album. If they opened up the album with Days of Future Past, it's like a faster, more up-tempo rocker type song, and I think that would have fit better. Senjutsu, it's an okay song, but one thing I don't get is the album concept. You have Samurai Eddie on the front, looks cool as fuck, awesome, one of the coolest Eddies out there. It's called Senjutsu, which is some kind of Japanese war strategy or something. That's probably wrong, so correct me, anyone, if they know what the fuck that means.
Tactics is...
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
But the song's about the Great Wall of China, if I read the fucking lyrics correct. So why are we Japanese name, Japanese album, Great Wall of China is what the song's about? I can't, that has me confused. But there's a lot of great stuff on there. A lot of people really fucking hate the writing on the wall. Our buddy Vinny Folletti from the I Love It Loud cast fucking hates that song. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a different sound and feel for Maiden. It's a cool song. There's a lot of great shit on there. Dylan mentioned the soloing. The soloing is fantastic. One thing that is, there's a couple parts on the album that Bruce's vocals are really low in the mix. I'm like...
Yeah. I couldn't understand what he was saying.
There was a couple parts where it's not even across the board. And I think... I mean, Mark, you said it. They're Iron Maiden. They're going to do what Iron Maiden does. But what do you think Andy Sneap would do with these guys now? That's all I got to say to that. But, and I think that they could have tightened up a lot of these songs. There's a lot of long intros, a lot of long outros. Like, for Death of the Celts, that whole first part, just fucking get rid of that. Just come right into the song. There's one song that there's a longer intro, and I'm not
like
that familiar
acoustic.
to.
I think it's the Time Machine.
The Time Machine.
That acoustic.
But then it goes, then the drums kick in. Like, that would be perfect just to start like that.
Yeah.
They could. I think they could have tightened up a lot of these songs, and I definitely think that The Darkest Hour should have been the last song on the album, because it fades out and you hear the waves on the shore and the seagulls screaming and shit. I think that would be an absolute fantastic fucking end to it. But I won't get into it any deeper than that. But I do really like it. I love Epic Maiden. There are people that want to hear Trooper, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Aces High for the rest of their life. That's fine. That, you go, girl. But I love the more meaty songs. I love the epicness of Maiden. Although, like I said, on these ones, they could have been tightened up a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, so there's our mini.
What about BC?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you went.
The only person that actually has Iron Maiden tattooed on him.
That's
and
true.
You're skipping him.
Well, I figured I'd skip him because he didn't get it in the mail yet.
I was just going to say, the best thing about this album is actually holding it. I mean, feeling it in your hands.
I let you touch mine.
I don't know what that is because you pre-order stuff and it never comes. But when it came out, I listened to it on Friday, probably a good 3 solid times, and a 4th. I mean, I don't read into the people's opinions on it because
I didn't look at any reviews before I listened to it.
I don't want to be angry when I start listening to it.
You don't want to have a pre-concept when you listen to an album.
Not only that, but I guess people, it's not this, it's not that. Well, no shit. First of all, this is recorded, 2019?
2 years ago, yep.
So it's recorded 2 years ago, so it's not old, but it's not, came out, current.
Yeah. It's not a Corona album.
It's not a Corona, but, I mean, I agree with Dylan. I like the second half. I don't know, I'm more of a longer song, Maiden. They could have cut it down a little bit with the, like you said, some of the intros are a little dragged out, but, I don't know, overall, but then again, it's Iron Maiden, so I'm not going to be like, Iron Maiden, come on. Overall, it's good. Hopefully one day I get to hold it in my hand.
All right. Sorry about that, BC.
Maybe someday.
Maybe Sunday. Maybe for Thanksgiving I get.
All right. So before we get rocking right into the episode, we'll do a little what we're listening to, and then we'll talk about some Whitesnake. BC, since I skipped you last time, what do you got going?
I listen to everything underneath the sun. I found the original iPod. That's the real thick one, and it's a square one, no touchscreen or nothing. So I found a bass.
The click wheel.
Yeah, the battery is totally dead on it. So unless you put it in this bass for it,
You're not listening.
you're not listening to it. So I found a bass. Oh shit, let's see if it works. I plugged it in. It was not coming on. I'm going, it's dead, son of a bitch. And 20 minutes later, you see the thing just lit up. I'm like, and it's over 5,000 songs on this from back when you can download shit from your computer onto it. And I put shuffle play on it. It just gets so much stuff on there. Not only that I haven't heard in a while, forgot about, so I've been listening to so much.
All right. I got you down for everything under the sun.
Everything underneath the sun.
Everything. 5,000 songs.
Yep. Mark, how about you?
Well, the funny thing is, of late, I've been really listening to a lot of Zappa. I'm not sure why that is. Usually when I'm working on a record, I don't like to listen to records because I find sometimes they might influence my playing or something rather while I'm doing it. So, but maybe that's why I'm listening to Zappa, because I know that nothing that he does I would ever put into my own music. It's very left field, a lot of his stuff. And I'm just really getting into some of his live stuff. Just recently they released 2 albums that came out, and one of them is the one I'm going to bring up now, which is the Zappa 88, the last US show he did before he stopped touring altogether, because he got sick later and he died, right? So this last album that they put out, which is I think it was in Uniondale, Long Island, was the last show he did. Fantastic CD. It's 2 CDs. A lot of his classic songs are on there that he's done, like The Black Page and Inca Roads and, Who Needs the Peace Corps and all kinds of songs. He really goes through his catalog pretty deeply on this. And he has such a great band. He has Chad Wackerman on there. He's got Ike Willis and Mike Keneally on guitar. And he has got so many great people in this band. This is literally... It was named the band that the greatest band you never heard, because when they did the tour with this and this recording that was done, they were supposed to do a full U.S. tour after they went over to Europe after this, and after the European tour, they split. There was so much internal tension between the band for some reason they didn't continue touring. But Zappa is on record saying this is the best band he ever played with on stage. So I really recommend it if you want to hear a fantastic live performance.
All right, cool. Dylan, how about you?
I was listening to Jailbreak from Thin Lizzy, that album, and I was listening to the Runaways' debut album today. I really enjoy both of those, especially after listening to the live Thin Lizzy album in the past episode. And the Runaways is a really solid album filled with such great talent before they got big, like Joan Jett and Lita Ford. So I was really cool revisiting that.
All right. BB, what do you got?
After listening to all these great Whitesnake albums, I kind of went down the avenue of Whitesnake, and I kind of took a left turn at the Vandenberg way. And from 2020, he released this album just called 2020. It's a great album, great vocal, guitar work as always. When you talk about Vandenberg, such a great guitar player, super underrated. But front to back, a really, really good album, straight through pedal to the metal rocker. Check it out if you have not listened to it.
It is actually pretty good. I was surprised because I could never, like, the old Vandenberg albums back in the day, like, they just did not resonate with me at all. I was like, no. I couldn't do it. They just didn't hit me at all. All right, so cool. For me, obviously the new Iron Maiden album, of course, I've been listening to. Ailstorm put an album out live in Tilburg, which is great. You know I love my pirate metal, you guys. And actually, I kind of binged on the Whitesnake 87 album because I appeared on the R4 podcast with Aaron Martell and Mike Cordes this last week. I recorded it. It's out by now that when you guys are hearing this, so check out the Ridiculous Rock Record Review podcast. We will be doing the Whitesnake, the 87 album. So I've been binging on that, and I will save what I said about that because we'll be doing that eventually on this podcast.
True.
When we do the
keep your notes.
That'll
Randy.
be.
Keep your notes.
I did. I saved them. So that'll be on. Actually, the way the albums are working out for me in my head, that'll be the third episode in this series. So with that, everyone's listening to this week. I got some new Maiden, some Ailstorm, and some Whitesnake 87, and along with what we're talking about this evening. BC's listening to everything under the sun. He's got his old.
I love that band.
They're great. He's got blood of the sun, right? Is that what that was?
I think so. Blood of the
Sun. Blood of the Sun. They're real good. So BB's got the Vandenberg 2020 album, and Mark's rocking some Zappa and the Zappa 88 live album from him. And Mark, you know I'm not a Zappa guy, so thank you for not having Frank Zappa influence your Project Gemini stuff.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, so let's talk some Whitesnake here. David Coverdale, first known band that he was in was of course Deep Purple. He was in there with Glenn Hughes. First album they did was Burn, and then after that Stormbringer came. Those were the two albums with them with Ritchie Blackmore. Then with the influence of pretty much I would say Glenn Hughes with the funk kind of feel that he brought, and he was of course the guy in Trapeze before that. And the next album they did with him was with Tommy Bolin. They did Come Taste the Band, which is a total, not a total departure for Deep Purple, but it definitely has a different feel from the other Deep Purple albums, especially the ones with even before David and Glenn came in. And Mark, I know you're a fan of Come Taste the Band as well.
I love it. It's one of my favorite albums.
Yeah, that is. I enjoy it too. I think I like it for its differentness. It's very cool, and that was the only show that they did, the only album that they did with Tommy Bolin, and shit wasn't working out in Deep Purple. David Coverdale actually wrote a letter saying, "I'm quitting the band." He went to I think John Lord, and he said, "We don't have a band for you to quit because we're done." So he's pretty much out on his own, and then he said he was very insecure after he left Deep Purple because that was his life for those years, and and he had all them songs, and he's part of the legacy, and he still does Deep Purple because he put out the Purple album a couple of years ago, and then he did the Purple tour, which actually I just listened to that live album the other day. It's very good. The production's a little on the vinyl, but It's the playing is fantastic. It's Joel Hoekstra and Reb Beach on guitar on that, and Tommy Aldridge on drums. Fantastic album, but God, they gotta throw that fucking drum solo in there all the time. Jesus.
That's Tommy Aldridge.
You know, I know he could play. But so then 1977, David puts out a solo album called Whitesnake, which was a solo album that he put out. So then after that, 1978, he puts out an album called North Winds. And so he pretty much, the band that he had for North Winds was the band that ended up being the Whitesnake band. All one word. Because the Whitesnake album, the 1977, was White Space Snake. So then he put them two together, called his touring band Whitesnake, and he recorded the EP that we're going to talk about here, that BB's going to do. And what they put it out as Snakebite. It was released as an EP, but then the songs they put on there, and the B side is songs from North Winds. So BB,
nice.
You're
already done.
I got you
See,
set
thanks.
up.
So now I don't have to say anything.
No. Come on.
No, like Wrighty said, this is their first release actually under the Whitesnake, title. This was originally an EP. It featured only 4 tracks that were released in the UK, of course, because, screw US, because we get nothing. And that was in June of 1978. The second half is actually what they're going to call a double extended play album. And that's from what Wrighty said is David Coverdale's solo album, North Winds. So the way the original Snakebite was released was the song Bloody Mary and Steal Away was on side A, and the 2 songs on side B was Ain't No Love for the Heart of the City and Come On. But we are actually going to do the extended double play album, if you want to call that. There was actually 8 songs on that. Thank God. So the first half is Whitesnake songs. The first song open up the album is Come On. It has a great 70s rocker opener. Dave's vocals are really, really good on this song. Even throws in a little hints of Deep Purple with Soldier of Fortune and Gypsy in the lyrics, which I thought was really, really cool. I love the dual guitar sounds that's on this album, and they sound amazing doing the dual guitar parts. So actually, I should have actually just opened up with who was actually on the first half of this album. So songs 1 to 4, David Coverdale is on vocals, Mickey Moody is on guitar, Bernie Marsden is on the other guitar, Neil Murray is the bass guitar player, Dave Dooley is on drums, and Pete Soley is on the keyboards for the first 4 songs. And the second song is called Bloody Mary, very piano heavy and guitar tune, almost like a rocking theatrical kind of song. The chorus is really, really catchy. The guitar solo is really, really cool. You got the 2 guitar solos and a piano solo all combined into one, which is really, really neat. Song number 3, which a lot of Whitesnake fans will know and love, Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. It's actually a cover, which I did not know of the guy called Bobby Bland. A great bluesy rock ballad. Dave sells the emotions with his voice. The guitar solo was killer. It's a staple for Whitesnake live albums because they always play this one live. And song number 4, Steal Away, has a great slide guitar start. Awesome shredding in this. It's just, that's what you like to hear in the Whitesnake catalog. Sounds like this could have been released in the 80s or 90s. It was that good. It was that heavy. And like I said, David's vocals are really, really good. So the second half of this album, starting with song 5, is coming from David's solo album called North Winds. And who plays on that? David Coverdale, of course, on vocals. Mick Moody on guitar. Tim Hankley on the piano. Alan Spencer on bass. Tony Newman on drums. Lee Brulex on the harmonica. Roger Glover on the clarinet and cowbell, BC.
Cowbell.
Clavinet.
Clavinet. Oh, not clarinet. Yeah.
He doesn't have Jan Van Halen on there.
Clarinet, that's hard rock. Come on.
And we can't forget about Graham Pressett and on the violin. So song number 5 is Keep On Giving Me Love. It has that funky 70 groove guitar riff throughout the song. I love Dave's screaming vocals on it. The chorus is cool. There's a little synth and there's a little guitar and a little harmonica parts all mixed in there, which was a really, really cool sound with the harmonica and Dave's vocals. I really enjoy that song. Song number 7, Queen of Hearts. It's one of those amazing roller coaster songs that I love. Very piano heavy to start, but then it has a great kick in, slows down at the pre-chorus, it kicks right back in at the chorus. Another cool groovy guitar solo on that one. Song number 7, Only My Soul. It's like a psychedelic feeling song that David definitely sells with his voice. A great vocal performance that he gives with this. A fantastic building song. And once again, more great dual guitar playing in that one. And song number 8, the closer, Breakdown. I think this is like the hidden gem of the album. They definitely saved the best for last. A fast rocker. I think it's actually about the breakup of David and Deep Purple, if I read it correctly. And a great vocal tone of this song. David has that sound of more of like the 80s Whitesnake. It has some heavy guitar sound, some cool synth in that. And for really from front to back, this is one of the first times I've actually listened to this album, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I hopefully you guys found that album as enjoyable as I did. So BC, what'd you think about Snake Bite, or Snake Bite and North Wind's Half and Half, whatever you want to call it?
BC likes a half and half.
I'm on the boat with you. Other than There Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City, I never heard any of this. So, I mean, this and the other albums you're talking about, I was really enlightened and enjoyably enlightened. But, yeah, this first one, I love the piano. I mean, I don't know. It's not overdone, but it's done nicely. It's put in there, and the guitar on this album fits better. Standouts to me on this album were the Bloody Mary with it's very catchy. The background vocals, the piano, of course. Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City, which I've loved that since I first got into Whitesnake, not knowing of this album. Queen of Hearts, I love the groove of Queen of Hearts. It's just that groovy bassness. The bass is such a standout in this album. And like BB said, Breakdown. I have that down here in my notes. It's just bam. That caught me here right off the bat. But this is surprisingly enjoyable. Not that I mean it would be bad, but it's different. It's got more blues tend to all these albums that we're going to talk about tonight. But very enjoyable. Shocking.
Dylan.
I even downloaded
Dylan's not on this.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Righty.
All right, I like it, and I had listened to these albums before, like back in the day. The Snakebite one, not so much, because I don't have this is the only one I don't have on vinyl, BC. I didn't even have this on cassette, BC.
Ooh.
Shame.
I like it though. It starts off. The production is really good. It's got like a choppy thing to it. The keys are cool accent. It's got like a groove to it. The vocals I thought were a little low in the mix on this one. The bass is really good. The solos are very good and fitting on this one. I like it when it gets to the part. There's like a wah solo in there. Love when they use the wah pedal. The songs are really. I think it's a decent statement song that when you play this. If this is the first thing you hear from these guys at that period, you're like, this is what you're going to get. And if you like this, you're going to like the rest of it. Bloody Mary comes up. It's honky tonk time. It's got an up-tempo boogie woogie type song. Very cool background vocals. Excellent cadence in the verses. Very layered vocals in it. Fun one. That's that cowbell there. That's Roger Glover there on the cowbell. Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. Love, love, love this fucking song. One of my top Whitesnake songs. I've never heard the original version of this song, and like the vocals are like a very lonely sounding vocal when the very first verse in it. I love when the band kicks in. The bass line is great. Such a great song, from the city hall to the county line. I love that verse, that line in the song. First solo is fantastic. The band underneath the solo is fantastic. From this first version of the breakdown, the middle, it really lends itself to being played live. And like I said, they still do it to this day. It is one of the highlights of a Whitesnake show for me. And usually these ballady type songs, I'm like, I'm going to take a piss. This is one I'm not missing. I will go for Is This Love or Here I Go Again, but I will not leave for Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. Killer song. The second solo absolutely rips on this one. Steal Away, cool slide guitar in that one. Pretty good one. Cool echoing part after the solos. It's even got some bongos in there. Gets a little repetitive for me. One of the maybe lesser songs in there for me. Keep On Giving Me Love, like a slow stomping groove to it. It's got some funk. It has a Glenn Hughes influence to this one, because Glenn Hughes put out a lot of albums around this time as well, and he had that funk thing going, and I think a little bit of that rubbed off on David on this song here. The vocals are low once again in the mix, I thought, on this one. Harmonica's in there. Very understated solo. Slide guitar soloing as the song closes. Another fun song. Queen of Hearts. This is the song I think BC was talking about, the piano. And then bam, like you get that piano start, and then David starts to sing right away. Great drum build up for the rest of the band to come in. And this is the one song on the album that I think that David Coverdale really goes for it. That you kind of get used to down the line, but he doesn't do it on a lot of the older stuff. But parts of this song, he does go for it vocally, and there's a kind of a gospel feel to some of the parts of this song as well. Bluesy start to the solo at the end. There's some really good drum fills in the song. Only My Soul, mellow song. This one, BB, you said it definitely has a 70s feel to it with the keyboards. This one's okay. It doesn't knock my socks out, but it's not bad. Breakdown. Fantastic ending song. The drum fill starts up to, it's like an upbeat blues rocker. I really like this one. There's some really cool guitar fills and licks in there. Really cool build for the solo. The slide solo, and then the keyboard and guitar part, fucking excellent. Fun album, really good debut, and it seems sometimes on this album and these songs between, some of them are from the first album, some of them are from the EP. It seems like David is a little tentative to really go for it vocally. You don't get that a lot from him yet, and I think as you go along through his career, he gets more adventurous. And Mark, I'm sure that you can sympathize with him for that, as a guy that sings on albums as well. I'm sure you, especially when he's venturing out on his own after being in Deep Purple for so long, he probably was not going to really go for it right off the bat. You get that kind of, I think you'd get that kind of tentativeness, but you get a little bit here. But there's a couple shades of what you're going to get down the road on this album. I like it. And I like that it's not even 40 minutes long. It's a quick in and out, but it's good. No real skippers on there for me. I enjoy it.
Nice. Mark, bring it home. What'd you think about the debut Snakebite?
Well, okay, since you guys went so thoroughly through it, I'm going to go through a little bit differently and just point out some things that you didn't point out. For example, I have the original Snakebite with the white cover and a little, the kind of bland album cover version of it with just the 4 songs. So I'm used to the version that starts with Bloody Mary. I've never heard this other version with the combination of the other stuff from the North Winds album there. This to me has always been the start of Whitesnake. And for all you collectors out there who like collecting vinyl, the must get is the white 7-inch vinyl of this that's in the UK that you can get. That's the original pressing of it for this. It's a white vinyl, 7-inch. It has just the 4 songs, and it sounds fantastic on vinyl.
Cool.
The other thing that needs to be pointed out in this is that EP was recorded in a week, and the man behind the board was Martin Birch, the man who will continue to guide Whitesnake in the next several records that we get to listen to here. And I think that he's just as responsible for the great sounding records as the band is, in my opinion, because, Martin is one of those guys who takes your songs and makes them into classics. Ask Iron Maiden, ask Deep Purple. I'm sure all of them would agree that Martin played a huge part in the shaping of their songs. Bloody Mary, I think, to me, is a much better opener, I think, than Come On. Well, I think Come On is a great song. I think Bloody Mary, to me, gives me a better sense of what Whitesnake is going to be in general. I mean, he doesn't use a lot of piano down the road. Like, if you were to say to yourself, when you're listening to like the 1987 album, that Bloody Mary is a Whitesnake song, you'd be like, really? That doesn't sound anything like Whitesnake. But there's elements of it in it already there. Maybe the piano is not as dominant later in his career, but I really like the vibe of Bloody Mary. I think it's very strong. It has a really good party feel to it, and we all know that David Coverdale is a man who loves his parties. So that's definitely a great indication of where he's at, I think, mentally as well. Steal Away has some great playing with Moody and Marsden. They just really play well together, and the slide playing is fantastic on that. Ain't no love in the heart of the city. Like you guys already said, it's a classic song. I mean, nowadays, I don't even think he has to sing it. He just has to start playing the guitar, and the audience will sing it pretty much. So that's how classic that song has become. And it's funny to think that I remember hearing and reading in a few different books that he said that he had no intention of actually recording that song at first. That it was kind of like an afterthought, and now he's kind of glad that he did it, obviously.
So are we.
What's that?
So are we.
Yeah. So it's interesting that that was the sort of thinking at that time. Come On is a great song. It ends up being one of the songs that they play live a lot in this lineup later on. So I think it's a better closer than it is an opener, because I think, to me, a closer is a song that makes you want to go, shit, man, it's done already. I want to listen to this record again. And I think Come On kind of does that. And that you get back to Bloody Mary again, and you're back on the ride again. I think that this is a great first release for Whitesnake. Yeah, he might be tentative, and you brought up a good point. I mean, just like me, when I started doing Project Gemini, I hadn't sang on a record lead vocals ever. So, of course, you're not going to be as gung-ho and giving it all the balls to the wall as you would as you become more used to that situation. And, look, he's done a few records with Deep Purple, so it's not like he's unfamiliar with doing lead vocals on a record. But, now he's responsible. It's now saying David Coverdale's Whitesnake, so the pressure's on his shoulders. So maybe the hesitancy came from shouldering a little bit of that responsibility to come out with something fantastic. I mean, don't forget, like I said, they have Martin Birch on board. They're at a really big studio. All that stuff is going to cost money, and it better sell. So, but I think it's a great first start.
Yeah, good start. Good job, BB. All right, so we all went. Dylan's diligently not participating.
I'm sure it's great.
All right, so goes to 1978 to the Trouble album, also produced by Martin Birch, and absolute kudos to Martin Birch. You are absolutely correct, Mark. He guided a lot of bands, crafted their craft as he went along. And Whitesnake is no exception for sure. He did the Black Sabbath albums, with the first ones with Dio, just absolutely fantastic. On this one, we got David Coverdale vocals, Mickey Moody, Bertie Marsden on guitar. Bernie Marsden sings lead vocals on Free Flight on here. Dave Dowie on drums, and John Lord, the great John Lord, joins on keyboards for this album. So we're kind of building the Deep Purple team back into David Coverdale's band, which, believe me, I do not mind whatsoever. And so it opens up with, it actually came out in October of 1978, and it's 38 minutes and 20 seconds long, which is right in the pocket of and Mark, I know you are a proponent of this, right in the pocket of a perfect length of an album. And it gets you in, gets you out, makes you want more. And you're not, and trust me, nothing against what we talked about with Iron Maiden. That album is an hour and 25 minutes long. I love every fucking minute of it. Well, almost every minute of it. But it is good when you can listen to a nice compact album like this, and you're in and you're out, especially when you're taking notes for a podcast as well. I will just throw that in there. Opens up with Take Me With You. This is one of the songs that I picked on my Whitesnake list when we did the Whitesnake list last time Mark was here. It's got that scratchy atomic punk type guitar opening, hard rocking song out of the gate, really catchy chorus. The production is crisp right off the bat. You could hear everything in the mix. It's got a cool tribal drum part in the middle. I would rather guitar solo instead, but the drum part really kind of gives you a cool feel to it, and I don't know if you can hear the thunder in the background here. Next song, Love to Keep You Warm. Slower bluesy type song. It's okay for me for the most part. I don't like the chorus of this one. There's some pretty good guitar in it. The lyrics, right after the solo, like, come on, if you need screwing, baby, I'm around. I'm ready for fooling mama, don't hang around. Wow.
Like you
it's
never
a
said
skipper
that to
for
a
me.
girl.
I don't have a lot of time.
Like you never said that to a girl. Come on.
Well, not in those exact words, but, this one's pretty much a skipper for me. And there's not a lot of Whitesnake songs that I skip like that. Lie Down is the next song, a modern love song in parentheses. I do like the rock and feel this one, up-tempo rocker, a catchy chorus, good toe tapper, the rocking solo really rips on it. Next song, Day Tripper. I am not a huge Beatles fan. I am not. I'm more of a hits guy and more of a early, I Want to Hold Your Hand, Love Me Do type Beatles songs. And Dylan knows I'm not a huge guy. However, Day Tripper is probably my favorite Beatles song. I love the riff. Cheap Trick does an absolute fucking fantastic version of it. This one, not so much. It's slowed down to a fucking snail's pace. It's like, what are you doing? I fucking hate this version. It's the only thing that is good in this song, and it's not great, is the talk box. Goodbye. I can't do it. I can't fucking do it. And I'm like, why did I get this album with this song that I fucking hate? Like I said, I love the Beatles version. Love it. I love the down. And I could and I always try to play that on guitar, and I could never get that one transition right, and it pissed me off so much. But next song, Nighthawk Vampire Blues, really cool drum intro. It's got kind of a big band sound to it. It kind of sounds like you'd get like the beginning of like the Johnny Carson show or something like that. It's got like a bombastic kind of big band kind of thing at the beginning. Stronger vocal performance by David Coverdale on this one. The tempo picks up for some of the verses. I like the drum fills in this one. Really good guitar harmony part in it. Leading up, there's an awesome fucking keyboard solo from John Lord on this one. Great song. I love it. Thank God it brought me back off the fucking ledge from the last two fucking songs. Number 6, The Time Is Right for Love. David's vocals are really smooth on this one. Definitely a 70s feel to the song as well, like you get from the one song on the last album. Fun one. Lots going around sound-wise. Put this song on with your headphones. There's a lot of different back and forth and stuff in this one for your headphones. The middle part is really cool. The bass playing during the guitar harmony part is fantastic. Cool keyboard fade out. Really good song. Trouble. This song kind of mopes into it. It kind of just got like you could have called this album something else. Trouble's a cool name, but like for the title song to be this and for it to sound like it does is not good to me. The melodic guitar solos are really good from both guys. It's not too bad of a song, but for it to be the title track of the album, it doesn't really work for me. Belgian Tom's Hat Trick. Up-tempo right out of the gate. Good bass and drums, guitar harmony, with some ripping leads in there. It's got some plinky little John Lord keyboard solo thing going on there. The soloing is great on this track. The guys tear it up. Fun instrumental. And I'm not a huge instrumental guy, but this one's not bad. It's definitely not a skipper. Free Flight, Bernie Marsden sings vocals on this one. Cool drum intro. The killer riff in it, though. Real cool three-quarter tempo song on it. I love the feel of this one. David is killing it vocally. The background vocals are really good on this one as well. The drums kick ass. This one I really like. Some excellent soloing during the outro playing in. Don't Mess With Me. Stomping start to kick it up. Hard rocking song for the verses. It's got a stomping feel for the chorus. I love it. Great feel in this one. The band really chugs underneath the solos. And that's something that has been really in my head lately. Listening to the solos of the band, but also really paying attention to the band underneath the solos. That really just brings out A, the great production, and B, well, more A, the great band, and B, the great production, that it's brought up into the mix where you could really tell how the band chugs along underneath the soloing. Excellent outro solo. Fantastic. But like after the solo, it ramps right back down, then it comes back up, and then at the end, you got a cool bluesy feeling. Good album. I enjoyed it. When you get to Lie Down and Day Tripper, I could kind of boom, skip them too. But good 8-song album for me. What do you think, BC?
Again, after Snake Bite, we come up with Trouble in 78. Oh, I mean, very strong bass on this album. I like. A lot of people don't like. As far as drums, steady drums, good fills, and of course, Dave's Dave. The standouts on this were, for me at least, Lie Down. Overall, just great song. You don't like Lie Down?
No, it was terrible.
Come on. Nighthawk, the drums on this. Free Flight, again, the drums catch me on this song. Of course, Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. And Don't Mess With Me, I just love the upbeatness of the song and with the solo. And I think Steve touched on it. When they're playing the solo, you hear the band playing in the background. I love that. That catches my ear every single time. But this is a great progression.
Mark, what you think?
It's interesting. This album, it's, look, he's or Whitesnake at this time is a very blues rock based band. But on this record, I'm sensing a little bit of R&B in there as well, tinged in there with it. Now, that could be because of the addition of John Lord. I mean, he's obviously somebody who said that he likes R&B music and was influenced by it, obviously. And his Hammond organ has a little bit of that in there as well, So I think overall the record is pretty good. It's interesting, this album had 3 singles. One of them was a German single, but the 2 singles that came out on this record were Lie Down, which is, I know, Steve's favorite song from the record. And so that was the first single. And then The Time Is Right for Love was the second single that came on in the UK. But they released Day Tripper as a single in Germany only, though. And I have to agree, Day Tripper, not really doing it for me. I am a big Beatles fan, more of a later Beatles fan, though. I kind of like the, Rubber Soul onward period more than the early stuff. But that's irrelevant right now. But I think that this record's interesting because they seem to be spreading their wings a bit. I mean, you have an instrumental song on here, Belgian Tom's Hat Trick. And then you have, Free Flight, where they let somebody else besides David sing. Now, that's something that'll never happen again, I don't think. Could you imagine going on a Whitesnake record and saying to Dave, hey, do you mind if I sing a lead on this one? I think you'd get fired.
You know what?
That's going to be that Dino.
I think it's going to happen now.
It's going to happen
now. Because he brought that Dino Jesulik in the band.
He didn't bring him in to play guitar.
Uh-huh.
So I think one of the major things in here to take note of is the addition of John Lord. His keyboard playing is much more present than on the EP. He's just a more impactful player as well, I think. When he touches his keyboards, you can feel it, when he's involved in the stuff. So I think that it's a good record as a full-length record, but I think it's also one of those situations where they're still testing the waters. I think the result of this record influences a lot of what comes on down the road. I think, do we do more of this? Should we do more instrumentals? Should we let somebody else sing on the next record? I think a lot of these things are all answered on this album as far as that goes. An interesting thing too, just to one little tidbit to add, when this album was reissued and remastered in 2006, they actually put the EP version of Snakebite at the end. So you had Come On, Bloody Mary, Steal Away, and Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City at the end of this record when it got reissued in 2006.
BB, what do you got?
For me, this is like a good like a test drive. This is like a test drive album for me. You know, you throw some bluesy, you throw some heavy stuff, you throw some faster stuff in, throw a cover, you throw instrumental. It's like the mixing pot of what Whitesnake, what they could be, what they like, what's down the road. But a couple of the songs that I really enjoyed were "Take Me With You." I think that's a fast-paced rocker. The beginning guitar scratch is almost like the Dimebag scratch. Instead, you said Atomic Punk. I heard like Pantera. I heard the
like Cowboys from Hell.
Cowboys from Hell. That's what clicked in my head. But the drums on it are really, really cool. Has that catchy chorus which I love from Whitesnake. Another one that I really enjoyed was "Time Is Right for Love." Another catchy tune with a catchy chorus. The post-chorus guitar riff is so cool. It has that groovy dual 70s guitar solo to it, and this solo, this chorus was kind of stuck in my head for like a while today. But easily my favorite song on the whole album is "Nighthawk." It's just like fast, super fast right out of the gate. The drumming by David Dowie is just stellar. Coverdale's vocals are super fast with this song. John Lord, the organ solo is so cool. You know, perfect Whitesnake, you know, what's yet to come. But I really enjoyed this album.
All right, cool. There's 2 down. We did Snakebite. BB did that one. Trouble for myself. And we're at the halfway point here. So we're going to do the gym song, give everybody a little break, a little breather here. We can go out and look at the fucking rain coming down. And the gym song this week is, I'm going to do this in honor of Metallica's Black Album. Was just reissued, and it should be out now, the box set. The box set looks absolutely amazing. There's a really cool video of Jason Newsted opening the box set, going through all the CDs and shit, and he literally knew every single like photo shoot, every show that they played. He went through everything on there. There was like, I think maybe one picture from a photo shoot that he didn't really remember. Really cool. Metallica, they have set the standard. Them and actually Def Leppard have set the standard of how to do a box set, how to put out something that your fans can love and cherish, and tons of shit to look at, tons of shit to listen to, except for the 1,800 fucking versions of Nothing Else Matters on the all these other bands doing it and stuff like that. But so I decided to throw in some Metallica there, so we're going to put on a song that I fucking absolutely love from the Black Album. So we're going to play Wherever I May Roam, and Dylan's going to spin it right now. All right, we're back. Hope you guys enjoyed Wherever I May Roam from Metallica. Always one of my favorite songs from the Black Album. Absolutely fucking love that album. Can't wait for the box. I didn't actually order the box set. I'm still on the fence of whether I should order or not. BC's like, you might get it in 2 years if you order it. So crazy.
I got a bad taste in my mouth.
But I don't know. We can discuss it real quick here. I think they really have set the standard of how to put out a box set. They've done it from Kill 'Em All. They've done Ride the Lightning. They've done Master of Puppets and Justice for All. They've done, and I think that just looking at Jason Newsted unboxing this one,
that was cool.
I think it's fantastic. The only thing I think that they really dropped the ball on when they did And Justice for All, they should have did a remix for that with the bass on it, which I think they totally dropped the ball on that one. But so anyway, hope you guys enjoyed Wherever I May Roam. I didn't want to go on it with a deep track or something like that. I was into Metallica lately. They've had the mandatory Metallica channel on Sirius XM, which I've been binging on, and very cool. They play a different live show every day at noon. Very cool. So we'll get into our hidden gems here, and we're going to start with BC because you were so like, I got a gem.
I got a gem.
What do you got, BC?
One night I was just freaking surfing around, and I don't know how the fuck the band Nelson. Everybody remembers Nelson from, but everybody remembers them from back in the day. And they were Poppy and After the Rain, I think it was called. Mm-hmm. Well, fast forward to I'm again, everything's not 100% here. The 2015, they put album out, Peace Out, which is way rockier than anything these guys have ever done. And there's a song on there, You and Me. I was like, if I played this for you guys right now, you'd be like, this is Nelson?
In a good way, right?
In a good way. Good.
All right.
Well, cool. Not that Nelson was bad. It's just they were pop.
Yeah,
poppy, I thought.
And I had asked you before if Mark Slaughter was because we saw them live, and Mark Slaughter was their guitar player, and he tore it up. He tore it up. They were really good. They were good live. I got to give it up to them.
The songs are rocking around this thing.
So maybe we'll have to look that a little deep. Maybe Mark Slaughter is involved in that one. Maybe
I found something, but it really doesn't go into who was on the album.
I'll bet you if we look up Mark Slaughter on Wikipedia, it'll say we play it on there.
Maybe.
Anyway, maybe Dylan can do that while we're talking about Whitesnake later. All right, Mark, what do you got for us?
Well, as I was talking earlier about my deep diving into Frank Zappa, the gem that I have for you gentlemen today is a classic, in my opinion, because I'm not sure if you're aware of this. Probably not, because I know you're not big on Zappa, but the biggest concerts that he has, like, you know how Ted Nugent, his big shows are his New Year's Eve shows that he does in Detroit. Well, for Frank Zappa, his big thing are his Halloween shows. And he always does them in New York City, and he usually did them at the Palladium. And his audience would come dressed like to the nines in all kinds of wacky outfits. And, you know, one of the most classic signature lines in all of his Halloween shows is he always starts the show by saying, "You all look fabulous out there." Like, that's always what he would say to the audience, because they all look like weirdos. Like, they're going to dress up like really wacky, right? So what came out just now is the Frank Zappa Halloween 81 concert. Now, there's a box set of it where you get a mask in there, and there's like a huge thing of like 4 complete concerts from the Halloween era from that time, because he played Halloween night 2 shows, and then the next night they played 2 shows again. So there's like 4 shows worth of stuff. But I got myself the highlights CD, which is just 1 CD, and it's just highlights from those 4 shows on 1 disc, and it's really, really, really good. I mean, Steve Vai was in the band at this point, so he was his second guitarist. They called him the Italian virtuoso at that point, right? So it's really good, and if you like the kind of like really kind of more technical guitar playing stuff, like the more easier to consume Zappa stuff, then listen to this stuff. It's not as wacky as his earlier stuff. I think actually, Steve, you might even actually enjoy 1 or 2 songs from this.
All right, maybe I might. And Mark, I was just thinking you should hook up with Aaron Martell from the R4 podcast, because they do a Zappa series on there.
Oh, really?
And I think you would be absolutely fantastic for it. I actually thanked them. BC, I know you remember when Motley Crue used to, right before they came on a show, they'd play a song called Crew Slut. And I'm thinking, wow, they got this song. Like, they made this song and it had all the horns and shit like that. I never, ever knew that it was a Frank Zappa song until I listened to the R4 podcast. And that was one of the songs that was on one of the albums they talked about. And I'm like, oh my God, that's it. I looked for that fucking song for fucking years because I thought it was just something that the crew had done just to open up the show.
Yeah.
But it was a fucking Frank Zappa song. So,
Yeah, well, if you like that song, I think that the song "Why Does It Hurt When I Pee" will go over really well with you as well.
okay. I can see that. So seriously, Mark, send Aaron a message. Well, he'll hear it on the podcast. So Mark or Aaron, if you're looking for another guy, a Zappa guy for your Zappa series, let Mark know. I'm not going to speak for him, but I'm sure he would be glad to accommodate you guys because he sounds like he knows his Zappa stuff. So
I got a lot of his CDs. Let's put it this way: this release, the Halloween '81, on the spine he always puts what release it is, like in the catalog. This is release 117. So
wow.
I got almost all of his stuff that he's put out. So I'm pretty thorough with Zappa.
Wow. That's a lot of crazy music.
That's crazy.
No shit. And you know what? And other bands should learn from stuff like this. God, Kiss.
Yeah.
All right. So very cool, Mark. Dylan, how about you?
My hidden gem is a song off of. There was this concert that Mick Fleetwood put together called "Celebrate the Music of Peter Green and the Early Years of Fleetwood Mac." He had a bunch of different people come up on stage to play old school Fleetwood Mac songs in honor of Peter Green, who of course was in Fleetwood Mac before the more famous version with Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham and all them. One of the songs that they play is "The Green Man Unleashed with the Two-Pronged Crown," but they feature Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top and Kirk Hammett playing guitar, and it's a pretty cool version of it. Really good soloing in it, of course, because you have two great virtuosos on guitar playing on it. It's a fun album in general because you have people like David Gilmour showing up. Christy McVie comes in for a little bit, so a little bit more of a Fleetwood Mac reunion with her.
Nicks?
No Stevie Nicks, no.
BC's out.
But, well, this was before her time. She didn't have anything. She was still with Buckingham Nicks during that period. So, but a good version of Green Man Unleashed with the Two-Pronged Crown, featuring Billy Gibbons and Kirk Hammett.
All right, BB, what do you
Nice.
got?
All right, let's go back to 2004. BC, how about that band Wildside?
Oh.
One of your favorites.
Love.
They released a CD called The Wasted Years. There's a song on there called Crash Diet. The song was actually written by Axl Rose and also demoed by Guns N' Roses. Great melodic, 80s sounding radio song. Great guitar solo. Just a great 80s melodic tune. Check it out, Wildside Crash Diet.
Maybe Guns N' Roses should have released that.
Probably.
Instead of-
There's actually I think they're a Swedish band, and they are called Crash Diet. And they have, that's probably what I'm assuming it's, well, it may be what it's from. We'll have to look into that. All right.
Crash Diet.
All right, so time for my gem. My hidden gem this week is going to be when my wife and I went to the Rockin' Pod this year. Had an awesome time there. Ron Keel was there. He played an acoustic set at the pre-party at the Mercy Lounge the night before. So the next day he had a stand there and he was signing stuff and taking pictures and all this kind of shit. So I picked up the album The Streets of Rock and Roll on vinyl. It was a numbered thing. They were signed, so I picked up one for myself. I picked up one for BC. Do you remember what number yours was? Mine was like 98. 98 out of like 200 or something like that.
It was definitely a 3-digit.
Oh, was it? Okay. So anyway, I listened to that the other day. I had a good vinyl listening day on Monday. But what I found out was there was sad news that the owner in BC, I know you met him too, the owner of High Vol Music, Bill Chavez, I'm sorry, I think that's how you pronounce it, passed away from COVID.
Oh, really?
He was really sick, and actually he tweeted he was in the ICU, and he tweeted it doesn't look good and stuff like that, and he passed away like a day later.
Yeah, he's the one who actually got us our first interview with Every Mother's Nightmare.
Yeah,
that's right.
Oh,
super nice guy. When I met him, we met him at the M3, that Sunday show that they did.
Oh yeah,
he was the guy. I wanted one of the Every Mother's Nightmare shirt, and he literally got under the table and dug through fucking boxes and boxes of shirts to find one that was my fat size. So he was super nice, and that was when we were still waiting for our Every Mother's Nightmare vinyl, the grind that we didn't get for like fucking
green,
2 years.
Yeah.
At least
you
we
know,
got it.
and we did get it, and he was very reassuring. He's like, I'll refund your money if you want. And we're like, no, we just want the vinyl. And he said, and even then, before all this COVID shit, everything was backed up. But he was a super nice guy. Bill Chavez, he was the owner of High Vol Music. So I wanted to have my hidden gem be, and it tied in with Rockin' Pod and Ron Keel. The Ron Keel Band South by South Dakota album that came out in 2020 was on High Vol Music. Fantastic album. It's pretty much a covers album. A lot of hard Southern rock. There's some Skinner on there. There's some Molly Hatchet on there. There's some Blackfoot on there. Some really good songs. Ron Keel, excellent talent, but just fun. So rest in peace, Bill Chavez. Love you. Thank you for hooking us up with our interview with Every Mother's Nightmare. Thank you for literally getting on your hands and knees for one of your listeners and stuff, for me, for looking for that shirt for me, and I really appreciate it. And you will be missed. And check out bands under High Vol Music. I know our boys in Every Mother's Nightmare, they're on there. Ron Keel's on that label now. A ton of other ones. So very cool. So my hidden gem is the Ron Keel Band South by South Dakota album from 2020. And so there's our hidden gems. So Mark's got Frank Zappa from the Halloween show. He's got the highlight CD from the Halloween shows at the Palladium from 1981. The CD was from, I believe Mark said. BB's got Wild Side, The Wasted Years. And the song is called Crash Diet, which we're going to have to look into if that's what the band was named after. BC's got, from 2015, The Surprise of the Night, Peace Out album from Nelson, rockin' song called You and Me. And myself, Ron Keel Band, South by South Dakota from 2020, and R.I.P. Bill Chavez. So we will get back into Whitesnake, and I believe BC is up to the plate. What do you got, BC?
Got the third release from the Whitesnake back in the early days. Whitesnake Love Hunter from 1979. Again, produced by Martin Birch. Comes in just a tad bit over 41 minutes. Back in the day, it charted 29 on the UK charts. Came out October 1st of 79. Only one single off this that I know of. Long Way From Home, which is the opening track. That charted 55 on the UK charts. I don't know why everything's UK.
Well, that's where they're from.
Oh, I don't understand, but I guess...
They didn't release it anywhere else.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of traction in the States.
But
surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Everybody was up in arms over the album cover. I mean, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, by today's standards, it's cartoonish. With the
You got to remember it's 79, though.
Yeah, 79. People were like naked girls riding in this huge snake. Go on.
Best cover of the night.
Best cover of the night so far. And, of the night. But, David covered it on vocals. David Dow on drums. If I'm saying that wrong, please correct me. Mickey Moody, guitar. Bernie Martson, guitar. Neil Murray, bass. And we're going to talk about him later. And, of course, the great John Lord on keys. The album starts off with the first single, Long Way From Home. I mean, this album, and I'm going to say the album before this, strong bass. I mean, the bass is up front. I like it, but in the overall picture, you don't hear the guitar as much as you should. And that bothered me in a way, but I like bass. But a strong bass groove, John's organ, the keys stand out throughout this song and album. Guitars don't stand out till the solo. I mean, when any part on this album where you have a guitar, it sounds great. But as a band, the guitar is drowned it like in the background. The keys, between keys and bass, it's so prevalent throughout the whole album. Second track, Walking in the Shadows of Blues. Hear the good guitar in this one, but then again, the bass and the organ come in and it just drowned out the rest of the band, I think. Dave's vocals sound great. It's a good feeling solo. And with the bass in the background, that's the best part of this song. Third track, Help Me Through the Day. It has a good mellow guitar start, but vocally, again, you got that strong bass coming in, which, again, I'm totally digging it, but if you sit back and look at the whole song and whole album, the guitar is lacking. Good solo, Medicine Man. Cool guitar start, but gets overpowered again by the bass and the keys. The backing vocals and the chorus stand out. Dual guitar part before the solo, I think is a killer part, which needs to be put throughout the album a lot more, but has not been. And then they're a killer solo. Track 5, You and Me. Cool riffs in this one, some slide guitar, which is some, again, as the whole album, and even the album before this one. And that's why I couldn't say it before.
Okay.
I listened to this first and then listened to everybody else's, and I was like, I can't talk about it.
I get you.
But again, strong bass. It's just, and I'm not complaining about it. Just saying it's very upfront. I like the backing vocals in this one, of course. Cool vocal part at the end. I don't know why I have that written down. I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank. Mean Business. To me, I loved it. This is one of the standouts on this album. It's more upbeat. The guitar, bass, and drums. It sounds like almost like female backing vocals. I don't know if it is or just the way it is produced. I don't know. Dual solo and the organ solo on the way up. It has dual solo and an organ solo, then some more organ on the way up. I don't give a shit who you are. If you play organ like that, you got me. Love Hunter. Guitar and drums, and again, Dave's vocals all over this. During the chorus, it reminds me of something. And I was going to ask you guys, Love Hunter. During the chorus, just the bass and the drum, it reminds me of a song, and I cannot, for the life of me, save me. Maybe Mark, I don't know. Anybody. And again, more slide guitar in this one, the solo. But in the chorus part with the bass and drum, boom, boom, it reminds me of a song. I can hear it in my head. I can hear it on the radio. I just cannot, for the love of me, come up with it. Anyways, we go to track 8, Outlaw. The bass and the drums on this with the guitar on this is fabulous. I just wish the guitars were more turned up. And this one had Bernie Martin on vocals. And they had another keyboard solo from John Lord, which I thought was kind of like, it's cool to hear somebody else sing, I think.
Yeah.
Changes it up.
Mixes it up
a little bit. Track 9, Rock and Roll Woman. Classic guitar start to this song. Into a riff has the piano. But then again, just, I'm not complaining about this. I'm just saying it over and over. But the strong bass. The bass is on top of everything, which is usually not the case. Strong backing vocals on this song. And then to finish off the album with We Wish You Well, which is just covered L with the piano and then the drums and guitar sticking. Not a bad tune, but not a good way to close off the original album. I'm going to go with the bonus tracks. Is that right?
Go ahead.
Bonus tracks in this are 4 tracks that have been pretty much already done. They came off a BBC radio thing in March of '79. Belgian Tom Hat Trick, Love to Keep You Warm, Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City, and Trouble off the previous album. These 4 songs, to me, if the album was done like these 4 songs were, you hear the guitar, you hear everything the way you should hear it, I think. And again, people probably look at me going, what the fuck are you talking about? But these last 4 songs on there, the bonus shit, phenomenal. The bass is down, the guitars are up. This is the way I wish the whole album was done like this. And this would have been Snake. BB.
All right. This one, I think, for me, had the most skippers in it. It didn't really grab me like the other three. My third favorite song on this album was Long Way From Home. It has that classic Whitesnake sound and feel that I enjoy. It has some great background vocals, but the John Lord synth in this song is so cool under the blazing guitar solo. Another one, probably my second favorite, is Love Hunter. Has that bluesy, funky song with amazing slide guitar underlay, which is really, really cool. Dave Seducto's lyrics on this song is crazy. Cool time changes, and the ending of the song is really, really great. But I think my favorite on this album is Walking in the Shadows of the Blues. Mm-hmm. John Lord on this keyboard throughout this song is just so amazing. David's vocals are just as amazing as John's playing. It's that bluesy rock solo from Bernie Marsden that really sucks me in, and it's like crazy.
Give it the psst.
You know what, BC? I'm going to give that solo the Sick Banana solo of the night.
Nice.
How about that?
It's our new feature.
Yes.
Sick Banana solo.
But like I said, it just for some reason a lot of skippers for me for some reason.
Mark, what do you think?
Well, truthfully, I think that this record is much more solid than the record before. I think they're, getting the feel of each other as a band more. I mean, that touring will do that, and writing together will do that. The more and more you do it. It's also very evident that David Coverdale is trying to get comfortable in being the main writer of the band. A lot of the songs are credited to just him now instead of the band. It's interesting they did a cover there. Help Me Through the Day is a Leon Russell song, which is interesting that they chose to do that. And there's, of course, a classic on here, which is We Wish You Well, which is a very short song, but it is technically the song that gets played at the end of every Whitesnake concert when people leave over the sound system. So it is something that is very well thought of within the Whitesnake circle, even to this day. Interesting that this is one of the albums that will be always remembered more for the album cover than for the music itself, which is, a bit of a shame because, it's okay. Like, it is a sexual innuendo that he's playing at with the girl sitting on the snake there. But it's interesting that it got banned in the United States, that cover, because it did get released as an import, right? And they had to do the paper bag routine with it. They weren't showing the cover. And David Coverdale's actually suggested at one point to put sticker panties on cover to cover the girl's butt. Apparently he said that went over even worse, the idea, than the original cover. So, it's interesting because there was a lot of hoopla made about that back at the time. And this album's pretty good. Even radio liked it better. It charted a lot better than the record before, and that's always something that I think their record label was probably happy to see, that it was, gaining traction and going, higher and higher up the charts. That's what you want, right? Then this is also interesting to make note that within the band, things are starting to get a little bit up. There's the upsetting of the system inside there. I think David Coverdale once said that it's like it's like a Spanish hotel. It looks good from the outside, but everything inside isn't working so good. So it's an interesting similarity to make. I haven't been in too many Spanish hotels, so I couldn't tell you if that's true or not. It's interesting, as you were saying, that there was some trouble with some of the band members. The drummer wasn't getting along with David and the guys because apparently he couldn't take criticism, and when they were suggesting things, he took it personally, which is also the reason why this is the last album with him on it. And then there's some other interesting things we'll talk about in the next record. But yeah, so this album, I think overall is better, in my opinion. I think what you were talking about the bass being so dominant and crushing everything, that has a lot to do with sound staging. What's his name? Martin Burtz is very good for giving every instrument its own sound and space within a mix. So he has, the certain mid frequencies for the guitars, certain low end for the drums, for the kick and the, bass guitar. So nothing tramples each other. The fact that you maybe not hearing the guitars as much, maybe your sound system has better bass, maybe it emphasizes the bass a bit more. But, the bass guitar, Neil Murray's bass sound overall is pretty strong. It has a lot of frequency in it, like lots of different frequencies, so it will never get buried in a mix. Whereas the guitars are, they're a bit thinner, so when a bass guitar comes in at a loud volume, it could squash a bit of the guitar. Sure, he could have probably put up the guitars a bit louder, but maybe that was not the sound that he envisioned for Whitesnake. And interesting to bring up that years later, when they were doing stuff later, like for Slide It In and stuff like that, Martin Birch is nowhere to be seen back when we get to like 87 and stuff like that.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was me. I listened to it with headphones, and I'm not complaining about it because to me it's up front. The bass is up front.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about it, but
You're complaining. Stop complaining, people.
Stop your bitching.
I want to hear the guitar, goddammit. All right, Steve, what do you think?
All right, Low Hunter. Another album that I was semi-familiar with. I had listened to it a couple times over the years. One thing that got me when I first started getting into the older Whitesnake, and I had already been into Maiden, I'm like, holy shit, Martin Birch, there's certain names you recognize throughout rock, when you got the album in front of you and you're reading everything like that, Martin Birch, and I immediately associated him with Iron Maiden, which and you could, and I think you could see, not so much on this one, on the next one that Mark's going to take, and the timing of it is pretty online. I'll talk about that when Mark does his album, but Martin Birch production. I like the production of this album, and I'm going to read it I'm going to read my total review at the beginning, and then I'll go through the songs. I have fun album, excellent production. I love the drum and bass is really out front on some of the songs. The use of keyboards is good, fun one. So I did notice that the bass is like right out front. I love the drum sound that he gets on this album. Long Way From Home, dun, dun, 2 snare hits, then he goes right into the verse. Mid-tempo song, not a very dynamic song to start the album with. The song's pretty echoey in your headphones. The drums are really crisp, short keyboard part before the melodic guitar solo. It's got pretty good layered vocals, but like not a. I don't think it's a. I'm kind of with BB. There's some songs I'm like, and I'm a sequence guy. I don't think this is a great opener. Walking in the Shadow of the Blues, absolutely fucking love this song. This is one that they will bust out live now. They did this. It's on the Walking in the one live album they put out. I gotta look up the name of it. And like this song title is literally in the fucking Live in the Shadow of the Blues is the name of the album. Came out in 2006, and they do the song on there. I think it's Reb Beach and Doug Aldrich in the band at the time. Absolutely fucking tears it up. And this album, I think that you get David Coverdale coming out of the proverbial shell vocally. He goes for it a lot more on this album. This is one of those songs. The song just chugs along, kick-ass soloing, and this is a song that I love when bands do that. They'll put a song on an album, but you could tell that when they play this song live, they are going to stretch this fucking song out. And this song absolutely lends itself to that. I love that shit. And that gets into how I love the epic Maiden songs. Like, I just love when something gets stretched out. I don't care if a song's 20 minutes long or 8 minutes long or whatever. If it checks the boxes for me, I don't give a shit how long the fucking song is. And this song checks those boxes for me, especially live. Help Me Through the Day. Usually people want to be helped through the night. People don't usually want to be helped through the day. The day's usually pretty good during the day. The night's usually when the problems fucking begin. But he has a problem getting through the day here. Very melancholy vocals. Not a fan of this one. This is a next for me. The solo's good, but it's definitely not enough to save the song. Medicine Man, boom. This one's more like it. It's got a driving riff, very cool start. It's got a funky feel to it. The bass, once again, has right in here. Sounds great. Dual guitars and the drum fill right before the solo is fucking fantastic. Bernie and Mickey really go for it in the song. These guys, I'll tell you what, these guys were a great duo when they were playing together live.
Fantastic.
I thought they were really good. I don't think, these definitely are two guys you don't hear in that conversation at all. But I think because, like, they're not still playing to this day, but even this period of Whitesnake, there has not been a bad guitar duo in this fucking band ever. There really has not been. I would love to see right now Reb Beach and Joel Hoekstra play the song live. I would love to see their back and forth on this song. Fun song. This is the type of song that I come to Whitesnake for. Songs like this from the older catalog that you could definitely see them playing live, like next week. And like I said, there's no bad guitar duo in Whitesnake, and I would love to see the current guys, Reb Beach and Joel Hoekstra, play this song live. You and Me, good start, good rock and roll type song, up tempo. There's some cool slide guitar in it. Nice stop and start before the drum fills before the slide solo. I love the slide. I'm a sucker for a slide guitar. Fun song. Mean Business. It's got like an electronic drum sound in the beginning, which is kind of weird. Quick cadence in the vocals. And the keyboards give it sort of an electronica, which is weird because like electronica was not even a fucking thing back then. Yeah. I mean, you were talking 1979 here, but you did have I don't know if you had the ass into the disco era, maybe you kind of have that little influence going on there, which I don't know what the fuck was going on there. It's totally like uncharacteristic for what's going on here. But underneath, the bass is just fucking pumping. Then I will call him, and I think he may actually be Sir John Lord. Takes over with a kick-ass keyboard solo, backs it up with some synth, quick song, fun rocker, love it. Love Hunter, it's got like a jangly guitar thing going on in the beginning there. It kicks in somewhat and gets funky, gets down to the verse, the cool slide guitar back in there again, really cool slide solo. The bend underneath is just pumping along, great bass. Bass is... And actually, BC bass is right through my review here, through this whole album. The second solo is really melodic. The keyboard accents are fantastic. The drum sound is fantastic on this. I love Martin Birch got a really crisp drum sound out of the drums on this album. I really like it. Outlaw Bernie Marsden sings lead vocal on this one, which is good. You know what? I like how it breaks it up. He's not a bad singer. The vocals are good on it, you know what I mean? I don't want to hear him sing all the rest of the songs, but it's good to have him thrown in there. And actually, both albums, he was on track 8. The last 2 albums. Upbeat songs, some cool parts in there. Real cool guitar dual thing in the middle there. And again, I will read it verbatim. Damn, the bass is just pumping along here. Amazing synth solo, excellent song. Rock and Roll Women, it's got a Chuck Berry like start to being like kind of beginning in there that I think is really cool. Fun rocking song, just a rock and roll song. Somewhat of a filler song, but cool keyboards towards the end. Fun song, not a skipper, but just a fun, quick song. We Wish You Well, like a piano, but I could see where they were going with this one. I don't hate it. It's nice. It's like, kind of thanks for checking us out kind of thing, and we'll see you down the road. I like it, and I'm kind of with BB. There's a couple skippers on here more than the other ones, but the sound is fantastic. I like and I'm with you. I don't catch the bass overriding shit like you did, so that may be an adjustment on your headphones or on your, you know what I mean. But if you listen to this on vinyl, it's pretty even. It's pretty even, but you do really notice it because I think Martin Birch chops up stuff good where everybody is heard in the mix. But like the way your headphones may be set up or your phone or whatever, you know what I mean, that may bring that out front just on this album. But fun. I mean, like I said, a couple skippers on here, but good album. I just don't get that overwhelming feel for it.
And I don't mean overwhelming. I just think it's up front.
Did everybody go on that one?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dylan, what do you got to say? Oh, Dylan, are you still here?
Yep.
Okay, Dylan is still here.
Are we still recording?
All right, we're gonna wrap it up with Mark. You doing Ready and Willing?
All right, so Ready and Willing. So this album marks a definite turn of fortunes for the band. what do I mean? Well, first of all, this is the first album that they released that has a bona fide single on it. And we're talking about Fool for Your Lovin'. Number 13 in the UK, this song hit. Not only that, but it hit number 11 in Ireland, number 19 in the Netherlands, 22 in New Zealand, and 53 on the US Billboard charts. So this is their first real single that got noticed, not just in the UK, but abroad. And it also did well on the album charts as well. I mean, this album was number 6 in the UK, number 32 in Norway, number 90 in the US, and 160 in Japan. So they started introducing, themselves in different charts finally. There's 2 singles off this album, Fool for Your Loving and the title track, Ready and Willing. And Ready and Willing even went to number 43 on the UK chart. So they charted 2 singles off this album, and it was their first gold record in the UK, this album. Now, what was not so good? Well, their original drummer is gone now, brought in now. Instead, we have Ian Pace. So now you think right away, oh, this is great. Ian Pace, he's fantastic. Deep Purple guy. Now we got John Lord in, we got Ian Pace in, so it's good, right? Well, from the outside, it looks that way, but the guys in the band, like Marsden and Moody, aren't liking it. And in fact, I read somewhere that they said that they started making T-shirts printed up that said, "No, we're not in fucking Deep Purple," on it, that they would wear, because they were getting fed up with having so many people in the band from Deep Purple in it, that they were saying that people were starting to get the idea that they were turning Whitesnake into Deep Purple. So that started rubbing them a little the wrong way. Now, as for the songs on here, I think it's good. I really like the songs on this record. I'm not going to go into detail because I know you guys go into much more detail with these songs than I ever do. But, Fool for Your Loving is a classic. I mean, it's so much a classic that John Kalodner made David Coverdale redo it with Steve Vai on Slip of the Tongue. And once again, it became a huge hit. So, twice lucky. Sweet Talker, classic type of Whitesnake song. Same with everything on side 1. I mean, it's pretty much what you would come to expect at this time from Whitesnake, except they are now a smoother band. They're a more polished band. I find that the drumming on this album is a bit better. It's a bit stronger. And why wouldn't it be? You have Ian Pace on drums. The guy is a bona fide legend on the drum stool. No disrespect to Mr. Dave there, who was on the stool before, but he ain't Ian Pace, right? So they're going to have that different feel. There's going to be a different swing in it now. Neil Murray still rocking the bass, so there's a rhythm section. Just think about that for a second. Ian Pace, John Lord, and Neil Murray, right, on bass. So I mean, what more could you ask for in a rhythm section? Then you have the 2 guitar players on top and David singing. It's fantastic, and Martin Birch behind the helm again on the board there. So I think that the band is kind of developing the way that they should be developing. This was recorded at Ridge Farm Studio, which is where Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman was recorded. Interesting little tidbit there. And, it's the record where finally they're starting to get a little bit of respect abroad, because this album came out on Mirage/Atlantic Records in North America. It came out on Polydor in Japan, and United Artists in the rest of the world. So whereas some of the other records were strictly a UK release, this is now a record that's going abroad and being released abroad. And that's mainly due to the fact of the single for Fool for Your Loving. I mean, it's incredible what one song can do for an album and for a band. I mean, side 2 is good too. I mean, there's a lot of good songs in here. Ain't Gonna Cry No More. I mean, it's still very blues-based, blues-driven sort of rock. And as long as they had Marsden and Moody in this band, you're always going to get that side sort of playing in there, which is why in years to come, bye-bye Moody and Marsden, and in comes John Sykes, right? Because they started getting the vibe that, and I think it's Kalodner especially, who kind of stepped in and goes, guys, I don't know, this is just sounding a little old now. I think they wanted to bring in something a little bit fresher and newer, and that's why they bring in John Sykes and Here Comes 87 and stuff like that. So, but this album, for if you like this type of Whitesnake material, the sort of bluesy rock stuff, this is probably about the pinnacle of it, I would say, as far as I'm concerned. And we still have a few more records from this era to go through still, but I think we're hitting about, almost bullseye with this record.
BB, what do you got?
Yeah, I enjoyed this record. Not as I don't know how to say it. Just not as many skippers as BC's, but it's still brewing. The Whitesnake crock pot is still brewing for me. There's a couple skippers that I don't get, but easily song number 3 that I actually really, really like was Sweet Talker. David's big vocals and John's amazing keyboard solo is really, really cool. Mickey Moody's slide guitar and his killer. It's just a great song. Another one that the title track, Ready and Willing. The chugging groove is perfect for this album. David's vocals are right in that vocal range that I really, really like, especially for like the soon to be, the 80s David Coverdale vocals. The harmonies in this song really, really surprised me. But it's probably, because it's a hit for a reason. My favorite one off this album is Fool for Your Lovin'. Definitely not like the Slip of the Tongue version, but it still kicks ass. It has that bluesy, groovy feel that I love from this early Whitesnake. And the solo, slowed down, bluesy feel to it, fits the song perfectly. And like I said, there are a couple more skippers, but this Whitesnake is growing on me.
Yes, really will. And I see the progression from the last 3 to this album, and with the new drummer. To me, you hear the drums better in this album. The hi-hat stands out better, which to me grabs me. And again, some more strong bass and organ and piano. But standouts for me with Fool for Your Lovin', of course. I like it. It's slower and has the more bassier and slower, which bluesier feel, which I like it better than the later version. Sweet Talker is another good song to cowbell. You can't go wrong with some cowbell. As 2 of my favorites off this is definitely the title track, Willin' and Willin'. I love that groove. And Black and Blue. The piano in that song and the crowd and the group vocals. But those 2 stand out to me off this whole album. And I can see the progression that they're making with this. And I've loved everything we got over time.
Ready. All right. I like this one. There's I think you could, if you just did a greatest hits of Whitesnake from Snakebite to, I think the one before we'll slide it in is Saints and Sinners. You could just put but I think it would have to be a double album, because I think you could get probably 15 to 18 phenomenal songs just to blow right in there. Fool for Your Lovin', great bluesy version. I agree with BC totally. Right away you get that crisp production once again. Great upper mid tempo song, amazing bass and drum sound. I love going back and forth between this version and the updated version. It depends on my mood which one I like better. The later version is a lot more slick production. This one's more kind of broken down type thing. But I like the both of them, and it's a good change of pace. If you're used to hearing "Fool for Your Lovin'," and that's on Slip of the Tongue, I believe, yep. And if you're used to that and you want just a change of pace, go to this one. You'd be like, "Ooh, that's you're not going to hate it. You may not like it as much, but you're like, that's different. It's good." And this is another one. The band just absolutely chugs underneath the solos. The background vocals are fantastic. Goes to Sweet Talker next. Good up-tempo song. Rocker. Once it kicks in, you can kind of chop up the front part for me a little bit. It's got some boogie-woogie in it. BC mentioned the cowbell. Some really cool little keyboard fills in there. Ready and Willin'. This is another song that they would bust out live occasionally. And it's another one that is on Live in the Shadow of the Blues. They do a fucking great version in it. Good foot stomper, driving bass and drums. It's a song that they, like I said, they do bust out from live from time to time. It's got a smooth chorus to it. Some really cool melodic dual solo. Fades out. I'm not a huge fan of songs fading out, but the fade out on this one is actually pretty cool. Carry a Load. This song is kind of it's got a country feel to it, which I'm not okay with that. It's just one. This is kind of a next for me. Blind Man, really soft vocals, good background vocals. The song gets more intense. It's got a build to it. Very atmospheric keyboards. Really soulful solo in this one though. And this one, like right away, it didn't hit me, and I was like, this kind of sucks. But then after a couple listens, like it kind of grew on me. I still don't love it, but I don't really hate it as much as I could, and it's like not a skipper for me now. But it's almost a skipper, but it's just over that line that it's not. Ain't Gonna Cry No More. Acoustic start. BC, do you get? I know you're a Zeppelin guy, and I'm not a huge Zeppelin guy. I get a gallows pole feeling to the acoustic guitar in the beginning of this one. Great vocals, and it's got a very short Styx-like keyboard part in between the verses, and I instantly picked up on that. John Lord just... I really don't want to say John Lord was channeling Styx. I don't want to say that. But I get that Styx feel to it. But it takes like 2 minutes for this song to pick up. It's a good deep track. It's a standout for me. Like once the song gets going, it's very cool. It's got more. I'm sorry, John Lord, rest in peace, love you. But it's got more kicks like. Sticks like kicks. This is far from kicks as you're gonna get. More sticks like keyboards before the solo. Really cool slide guitar solo. Love Man. This is the nickname that BB may or may not be called by his wife. So. And they didn't even know each other then. They were just in the crib at the time in 1980 when this album came out. And this song is exactly what I thought it was going to be by the title. A blues song with some keyboard accents, some slide guitar going on. It's got some grooves in it. Great background vocals. Chugs along. Good song. Black and Blue. No BC. It is not Van Halen Black and Blue from OU812. This one sounds like it was recorded in a bar.
It does.
You got the people... talking and shit in the background, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in a good way, like a honky-tonk type sound. It's got the drums are really great on this one. Whatever bar they're in, there's like fucking 10 people there, though. Because that's about all you can kind of hear. Really cool piano solo. Like Mark said before, you don't get that piano sound from later Whitesnake. But it's cool. It fits in this one. It's got a very live feel to it. But it's weird that the song fades out. It's supposed to be like a, quote unquote live in a bar type song. It's weird that it fades out. She's a Woman, little plinky keyboard sound. Yeah. Tempo kicks up for the keyboard solo. John Lord absolutely kills on this song. I think it's a great ending song. Great fun rock and roll type song. Fun bluesy hard rock album. Has some great songs in it. And they still bust a couple of these out live. I'm glad we're doing this series. I like the old stuff. I'm glad that I got you guys to delve into this stuff too. So, Dylan, do you have any words on anything that we talked about tonight? I gotta throw you in there somehow.
Come on.
It's all great.
Yeah, there's some good musicians. I'll say that much for sure. Definitely some talent on these albums that you guys talked about. I don't know. It just doesn't click with me. I don't know why, but
it does not like David.
It doesn't have to. Yeah.
All right, and before we go any further, I forgot when I rehashed the hidden gems, I forgot to mention Dylan's because I didn't have him included, so I wrote it down on the bottom. He did Mick Fleetwood doing the Peter Green tribute thing, and they did the Green Manalishi with the 2-prong crown with Billy Gibbons and Kirk Hammett. So I didn't want to leave you out. I apologize for that. I just thought it to be out bottom here. So there's your first 4, take them or leave them, Whitesnake albums. And I hope you guys, if you have not checked out the old Whitesnake stuff, check it out. There's a lot of really cool stuff there. We'll go around here, we'll wrap it up, and we'll say goodnight, and we'll start with BB.
Yeah, definitely a different sounding Whitesnake than I prefer. You know, coming into Whitesnake in '87, you know, when that album just like blew up, and then you realize a lot of those songs are like back songs from catalogs from, you know, a couple of the albums we went over tonight. It was a little bit tougher for me to get through some of these albums because of the, you know, how late they were, how they were kind of, I'm going to say, quote unquote, experimenting, you know, blues, groovy 70s slide guitar feel type thing when I'm used to the hair metal from '87. But I can definitely appreciate how it evolved. You know, like I said, it's not really the Whitesnake that I like, but I can appreciate the 70s Whitesnake for what they were, the time period. Definitely a different episode for me when a lot of these songs are like, it's all right. You know, a lot of tough listening to get through to something that I did like. But, you know, like I said, it's coming from '87, it's tough. But like bluesy rock foundation, this is where they came from. And, you know, in other words, it's a nice different swirl to go back to see where these actual songs came from. So if I had to rank these albums, sorry BC, so many skippers on Love Hunter for me is definitely number 4. Ready and Willing is probably coming in number 3. I think Trouble's number 2 and Snakebite is number 1, only because Snakebite was mine. I think I listened to it so much it grew on me, and I didn't have any skippers on that album. But like I said, it was a Whitesnake tough listen to get through some of these bluesy, groovy songs when I want to hear, you know, Whitesnake.
You want to hear Children of the Night.
I want to hear, you know, down your throat, rocking out Reb Beach and Doug Aldrich screaming out guitar, and Joel Holstra just screaming out guitar licks. So, but once again, you have to, you know, realize the time, the foundation, you know, getting this band together. But definitely a great learning experience for me.
All right, Dylan. You can just say, you know, whatever.
Yeah, a lot of the songs that we're talked about tonight will be on the Spotify playlist in the show notes, so you could check them out. I might not, but hopefully you will.
Great endorsement, Dylan. Wow. Mark, wrap it up and give it the skinny. Let everybody know about Project Gemini and Dark Monarchy and everything else you got going.
Okay, well, just to wrap up this, you know, I was also one of these guys who was in the '87 camp initially. Actually, I was also very into the Slide It In period before that too. I'm a big John Sykes fan, so that's always been kind of near and dear to my heart. These albums have grown on me quite a bit over time. They're still not my favorite period of Whitesnake, but I think that they've grown on me quite a lot. You know, I don't mind some of these kind of early 70s bluesy guitar sounds and stuff like that. They, you know, I don't know if it's just because I'm getting a bit older, but, you know, it's just, they kind of sit with me a bit better. As far as Project Gemini is going, working on a new record, Book 3. Hopefully it'll be done by October, out by November, I'm hoping. I don't want to rush it. I want this one to be the grand finale, Book 3. So I want to take my time and get it done right. The Dark Monarchy, we have a new record out. There's going to be a 3-song EP coming out in November as well, which are 3 songs that didn't make the album, and they're not like bad songs. It's just that me being a stickler for the 40-minute format, we had too much music. So that's going to come out on an EP in November. and we're going to start writing the next Dark Monarchy album in January.
All right. BC. Mark, before we go, Mark, if you had to, how would you rank these albums?
I think I would probably rank them Snakebite, number 1, still one of my favorite listens. I think I would do Ready and Willing, number 2. Then I would do Trouble, 3rd, and then Love Hunter last.
BC, you're last. You're 0 for 2 here, man.
That's it. I get it gun.
Again, you have one.
Yeah.
Many.
What do you got, BC?
Again, when it comes to Whitesnake, I came in 87, like a lot of us in this room. I went back, slid it in between that, not in between it, right after slide in, I pretty much grabbed Live in the Heart of the City. And I put that in, I was like, wow, this is different. And I kind of backed away from it, I guess you would say. Back then I was only 17. But doing this episode, I mean, this really opened my eyes to a different version. I mean, I know where you first fell in love with Whitesnake for 87, and so did I. But I have such a found respect for these albums now. Yeah. I like them all for. I mean, they have such a good, maybe a bluesy sound. Now that I'm older, I can open my mind to more. And to rank them, I'm gonna go Snakebite number 1 because you can hear the guitar better in that compared to the other 2, and I like the drum sound on Ready and Willing. And then I gotta do Mine and then Trouble. Just maybe because I listen to mine more than anything else.
There is that factor there.
There's that factor.
All right. For me, first and foremost, Mark, thank you for coming out with us here. I know you're very busy with your Project Gemini stuff. I cannot wait for Book 3 to come out. And thank you for putting out the package that you put out for your albums. Absolutely fantastic. And as you know, when my Book 2 arrived in the mail, it was snapped in half. I was fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And I usually delete pictures off my phone. I kept that one just as a reminder of how shitty the fucking, I don't know. Literally, when I'm like, this album's going to be snapped in half.
Well, I'm glad I get you another one in quick time.
Yeah, you absolutely, you came through, got me another one really quick. I've spun it many times. The color's fantastic in it. And, thanks for what you do for your supporters. I really appreciate that. You put out a great package of stuff. The Dark Monarchy stuff is fantastic. Book 3 is going to be fantastic. I can't wait. Thanks for sending out the folder with all the information in it is great. And and thanks for giving us the time in your busy schedule to hang out with us tonight. And we will definitely come back with part 2 of this one. And for me, Whitesnake, and I've said this before, I was unaware of these guys totally, and I started working a job washing dishes at a restaurant, and I went to the public school in our town, and there was a public school and a Catholic school in our town, and the other guy that worked at the restaurant with me was a guy that went to the Catholic school, same age, didn't know him. We got talking about music. Him and his buddies, they were, Deep Purple, Rainbow, Whitesnake, and our guys were Kiss, Van Halen, all that stuff. So and we kind of influenced one another of our music tastes. And he's like, "Have you checked out?" He got me to check out Deep Purple, and then he's like, "Well, Whitesnake was out a couple of years, and so the very first thing that I had, he let me borrow his copy of Live in the Heart of the City." He's like, "Wow, this shit is great." And so I was aware of these guys, but but at that time there was so much shit out there, so I didn't pick up Ready or Willing or any of the other stuff, Come and Get It that comes after that and stuff like that, up to Slide It In. But then when Slide It In did come out, I picked that up and I was like, wow, holy shit. So, and then when 87 came out, I was like, wow, this is not the Whitesnake that I knew from Slide It In. But I'm like, this band is fantastic. They've evolved, and it was fun listening to these albums. I picked them up on vinyl. Like I said, I have to get the one that you were talking about, Mark, the Snakebite version, the 7-inch with the white. I gotta see if I can pick that up.
Yeah.
Hopefully reasonably priced. Hopefully, but knowing me how ridiculous I get with some things, I would whatever. But for me to rank them, I'm gonna go Ready and Willing number 1 because I absolutely love the live version they pull off of there. Number 2, BC, I'm going number 2, Love Hunter. I'm giving you a number 2 on this one, all right? All right? Absolutely, even though it's got skippers on it. And I'm going to go number 3, Snakebite with BB. And I'm going my own treble for the last one because that version of Day Tripper just absolutely fucking kills me. Like you have certain songs that you really love, and you hear a crappy version of it that absolutely kills you. You got to put that last. So I definitely got to throw that one down there. So once again, Mark, thank you for coming on the show. Dylan, thank you for hanging with us tonight. I know this was the last place you wanted to be. I would have recorded this episode, but I smashed my computer last week, which is the main tragedy of the whole thing for Dylan here. He's not very happy sitting here tonight. He's not a Whitesnake guy, but thank you everybody for listening. Guys, check out this old Whitesnake stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff there. And I admittedly there are some skippers for me on there. There's skippers I think for everybody here that spoke tonight. There's how many albums do you really know that are perfect? There's not a lot of them, but there's a lot of good stuff. You could make a really cool playlist from the albums that we talked about tonight and songs we talked about. Dylan mentioned it before. A lot of these songs will be on the Spotify playlist. And like we said, if these songs were really bad, they wouldn't still be playing some of these live now. And the live versions of some of these songs now are absolutely fucking killer. So check out some old Whitesnake. Check out some pre-sliding in, pre-1987 Whitesnake, because there's a lot of really cool stuff there. And when you get to Ready and Willing, you got like 3 guys from fucking Deep Purple there on this album. And you cannot go wrong with Martin Birch as a producer. So check them out, guys. Check us out. If you're a new listener, welcome. If you're an old listener, welcome back. Check out our back episodes. We got a ton of cool shit coming up. And we will continue with the Rush saga that we have done with Mark all along. We'll have Mark on for other stuff. Once Book 3 comes out for Project Gemini, we'll have Mark on again for that. And we'll do some Dark Monarchy stuff with him and Joe. So, once again, Mark, thank you for coming on. And you guys, thank you for listening and hanging with us. And we love you guys. Keep listening. Keep sharing. If you guys didn't have anything to say, give us a message. Hit us up on Facebook, Messenger. Share our episodes. We really appreciate that. If you could give us a 5-star review on iTunes, that absolutely totally helps get us out there with other podcasts that are, much bigger than us. We love you guys. We just want to, get more people out there. Spread the word of the Potter Than Hell podcast. So check us out. Take care of yourselves and each other. We will see you next time, and there definitely will be a next time.